Hey guys, Steve Welch here. So I just put out another video, and anytime that I mention maintenance when it comes to a Toyota, I always get the comments, and the first comment came up really quick this morning on it, and all I was doing is showing you how to reset the maintenance lights, whether it's the regular maintenance or the oil maintenance, and there was difference. So but I did that video I had that released this morning, and the very first comments like 10,000 is a crazy amount of miles to go before you change the oil in a Toyota. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to 100% agree with you. Everybody that we always kind of get with each other, and we're always like, look, yeah, I mean, what was it when I was growing up? You had the old Chevys and stuff like that. And what was your oil interval? 3 months or 3,000 miles, you should change your oil, right? Well, and you come out with synthetic oil, and then it went to what, 5,000 miles or 6 months, and then you got some cars that were 7,500 miles or 6 months, and then you had so you get all these different intervals depending on the car that you have. All right, and I don't care if you're in a Toyota or if you're in a Chevy, if you're in a Dodge, this advice is going to be 100% true, right? So the manufacturer says change the oil at whatever that number is. Toyota says 10,000. Are you voiding anything to change it more often? Like any warranties or anything? No. Is it hurting anything to change anything? Only your pocketbook, right? Toyota pays, and these car companies, whatever, they pay people to set the intervals for maintenance based off of testing, things like that. I know there's a lot of stuff they do to set these intervals. So that being said, are you smarter than a Toyota engineer? I'm not going to say you are. I'm going to say I am. I'm just going to say no. I mean, that's what they do. That's what they're paid for. They should be smarter about it than anybody else. But that being said, am I going to change my oil at 10,000? No, I changed my oil at 5. Why? Because it doesn't hurt anything, right? It's all right. So if over the course of the 100,000 miles that you own the vehicle, right, you change your oil, you change your oil every 1,000 miles, right? Or sorry, every 10,000 miles, right? And then you go, well, if I changed it every 5 and it cost me $100 an oil change, how much more? Well, I did the math. It cost you $1,000 over 100,000 miles to have changed the oil. If it cost you $100 each time to change the oil over and above your regular service, it cost you an extra $1,000 over 100,000 miles to have changed it an extra time, to change it every 5,000. So your 100,000 mile goes from 1,000 to 2,000. I'm okay with that, just to be quite honest with you. So now that's using synthetic oil. I always suggest you use synthetic oil, because if you use conventional oil, it automatically cuts your life in half anyway, right? So they always say 10,000 with synthetic and 5,000 with conventional. Don't put conventional oil in anything. There's not really a reason for it. So put your conventional oil in your lawnmower and have your car be the synthetic, right? So like kind of what we're back to. So I've been a mechanic for a lot of years. I've been since I was about 14, worked on semis for 8 years, worked on aircraft for 5 years. I mean, it's just, you kind of, if you know anything about me at all, I'm mechanically minded. And that, like the video I put out, I talked, Toyota recommends your maintenance every 5,000, but your oil changes every 10. Right? So they have 2 different resets for your maintenance, one for your oil and one for your regular maintenance. And like I said, you get that out there. No, I would never change it at 10,000. And it's like, oh, look, because and here's the reason. And there's 100% truth to this, that there could be debris that could come into your engine. There could be other issues that could be an issue with your vehicle. And having changed out the oil extra, there's no drawback to having done that, other than it costs you a little bit more money. That's literally the only negative. And realistically speaking, the extra peace of mind for me and the itch I gotta scratch as a mechanic, you know what? I'm okay with that, right? So just kind of a thought process. And everybody's like, oh well, Toyota had the issue with some engine. They did. Right, they recalled a bunch of engines, found out very few of them actually had the issue, but there were some that had the issue. My first Tundra that I had, I got to almost 65,000 miles on it. Didn't have an issue at all. This Tundra that I'm driving now, I'm almost to 20, so I'm almost to that oil change. But Toyota recommends your 2 years or 25,000 miles, Toyota has the Toyota Care that comes with the cars. 2 years, 25,000 miles. That's your 5 services, right? So you get every other service, you get an oil change. So you 5,000 tire rotation, stuff like that, and then you get your oil at 10. Next one is the same thing, and then you get your oil at 20. Well, what I do is I go in at the 5,000, I pay for an extra oil change. At the 15,000, I pay for an extra oil change. At 25,000, I'll pay for the extra oil change. I'm gonna pay for those extras, and then after the Toyota Care's up, I'm just gonna do my oil changes every 5. Why? Because that's what I do, right? There's not a negative to having done additional oil changes, right? I mean, there's just as long as you've done them with synthetic oil. I mean, yes. I mean, like I said, you go back in way back in time, and it was all right. Well, change your oil every 3, every 5, every 7,500, everywhere. I'm just going to change mine every 5,000 miles, right? Just damn. It doesn't hurt anything to have done that. So keep in mind too, Toyota's, they're going to do things that make sense when it comes to overall reliability of your vehicles. They're not going to risk the reputation they have as being the most reliable car by just trying to save a buck by on that 2 years or 25,000 miles. That's not what it's for. So Toyota actually believes that the 10,000 is a good spot to be for the oil change. And I'm not one to say that that's a wrong answer. All that I'm saying is that for me, changing it at 5,000 makes me feel better. And if it makes me feel better, I'm going to do it, right? That's just, that should just be the answer, right? If you feel better about changing it at 5,000, change it at 5,000. I agree with the sentiment that newer oil in a car makes it last longer. It does. Plus, anytime that you get a mechanic to look at something, they catch an issue quicker. You can, if there's something that pops up with something that got loose or something like that, anytime that you can have somebody that looks at your car and gets the opportunity to find something that might be wrong before it becomes a major issue, never a bad thing, right? So, will your vehicle last longer if you change your oil every 5,000? According to Toyota, no, it's going to last the same amount of time regardless of how often you change your oil, as long as you do it within that 10,000. Otherwise they wouldn't have recommended the 10,000, right? Toyota's known for reliability. Toyota's known for long-lasting vehicles, things like that. Toyota's not going to put their reputation at risk to try to save somebody an extra oil change, especially when you're coming in for service anyway. So what I say, and look, come in at 5,000, even if your oil change isn't done, I'd do your oil change. Do it again. It's not going to cost you that much money. Like I said, over the course of 100,000 miles, it costs you $1,000 extra over the course of 100,000 miles. And it could take people 10 years to hit 100,000 miles, right? So if it was $100 a year extra that it cost you for an oil change, if that's the number, but you kind of get I'm just giving you a rough idea of whatever it could cost, right? But depending on what else you're doing to the car, of course. But if it cost you an extra $100 a year for a little peace of mind, is there anything wrong with that? I don't think so. I personally, I don't think so. I do it, right? Don't get me wrong, I can pull right into the dealership, then I go to work, and I always ask them for a ride to work. They always laugh at me, but it's I'll ride to work. Where's that? Right there. They all know me, so everybody knows me. But anyway, so that's just kind of my thought process there. So do you want to do your oil changes at 5? Do you want to do your oil changes at 10? Do you want to do your oil changes at 7,500? Pick, right? Whenever you do your oil change, though, I would suggest resetting your maintenance to know that you reset it there, so that at least if the maintenance light comes on at 10,000, you go, oh yeah, I forgot, or something like that. But keep in mind, your intervals from Toyota are still going to say the 10,000. And now I will, like I said, I'm going to caveat that. Not every car has the 10,000 mile interval. I believe the Supra is actually less than that. But there's other vehicles, and if you use conventional oil instead of synthetic oil, that immediately drops to 5,000 regardless. So it's always using synthetic oil that they expect that you'll be at the higher level. So tell me what you guys think, but that's just kind of my opinion. I could be wrong, but I'm not. And there you kind of go. But Steve Welch here. You guys have a great day. If you guys need anything, reach out to me at buyatoyotanashville@yahoo.com. Buyatoyotanashville@yahoo.com. Like, subscribe. I appreciate every one of you guys. You guys have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.